Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you this late night review for One Piece episode 941. So, obviously, one of the big things with this episode is we dive more into just how far Orochi's depravity goes. And I already went into a whole spiel about him and the Smiles last week, so I won't repeat things too much here. But one detail about this situation that's revealed to us in this episode is the lengths by which Orochi went about. It just pretty much went about just kind of just pretty much like forcing the people of Wano in order to eat the Smiles, but be, because he was basically what he was doing, he was basically preying upon the desperation of the people of Ebisu and exploiting their hunger, where like he forced the people into a situation where practically really all they could eat was the smile fruits. And this in itself is one of those times where looking at how vindictive his actions were looking at how vindictive his actions are really should have been my first clue and major red flag about what we'll learn about his motivations later on down the line in this arc. I mean, it's I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There's absolutely no fucking excuse for what he's done, and just no and pretty much and really not really even any forgiveness that really should be, and really his actions as a whole really aren't worth any excuse or any forgiveness whatsoever. Like he's still a piece of shit for what he's done, but the thing is, the motivations are more revealing to me now than they were before, and also just how largely his actions do very how much Orochi's actions do reflect that of his actions against the people of Wano aren't just for sport. They aren't just because he likes inflicting pain on people. No, this episode kind of revealed that his actions his actions do reflect almost that of a grudge against the very people of Wano. Like he, for some reason or another, he holds a grudge against the people of Wano. Of course, it's so, and his actions are honestly a lot more reflective of that than I than I had initially given it credit for when I first read this. Like the stuff he's done in this chapter, it just there's small little moments here and there where you can see hints of, okay, this all has to do with a grudge and revenge against the people of Wano. Like something, the people of Wano did something to him, and it you'd have to look at it in certain context, in the context of certain scenes, but it is there, and you can definitely tell. Yeah, there's more to it than just him being a vindictive ruler. um, and that's also, of course, a lot of this is also what made the moment of Zoro and Sanji's interference all the more satisfying. Like just I have a lot of problems pacing wise with this episode, but just that one moment at the end of Zoro and Sanji just coming in, wrecking shit, wrecking the execution grounds, like saving Toko, just doing all that stuff. It was just the most epic way in order to end the episode. If nothing else, I gotta give the episode credit for that epic ending. Um, of course, Orochi necessarily isn't the only one guilty of this, since what's happened to the people of Wano also exposed a more in-depth truth of just how truly successful Kaido's attempt at creating a zone army with Smiles has been. And needless to say, from what we learn of this episode, it has yielded a lot less successful results than we might have originally thought. Because in this episode we get revealed that Kaido's army is made of three categories of three categories or three pretty much or three pretty much platoons or battalions of soldiers. The first being the waiters, those that are waiting in order to taste the smile fruit for the first time and hopefully hope they get like some kind of devil fruit power. the gifters, those that have been gifted with the powers, with the powers of the zone smile, the powers of the zone power of the smile fruits, and the pleasures, which are the soldiers who have been cursed in this very same way that pretty much the people of Wano have been cursed. And this and honestly, just pretty much the fact that just the fact that there are these three separate battalions of soldiers in Kaido's army, in a way, also kind of exposes. It actually kind of exposes a pretty significant weakness in Kaido's military strength overall. As with this breakdown, we pretty much get it pretty much tells us that the number of people who have actually inherited the power of the smile fruits is a lot fewer than we might have thought. Like and obviously that shouldn't discount the overall power of Kaido's army, but at the same time it does it as the ones who have inherited this power are still very strong, but at the same time, it does show that there is a little bit of a weak link in the chain of Kaido's forces right now. So it is good in that sense to show it. But the most horrific part, and you know, but between learning of how these smiles have affected both Kaido's army and the people of Wano. The most horrific thing about the smiles overall in this episode is whether it's what we learn about them whether it's what we learned about them through the people of Ebisu or Kaido's attempts to make an army, is it truly brings full circle what Doflamingo had basically espoused hundreds of episodes ago and continued to espouse up until the point where he was captured, which is that this while he might not be around it in order to actually see it himself, we are witnessing the age of smiles with basically Kaido right now. Like Kaido is the one who's leading this sort of age of this age of smiles that Doflamingo had talked about. Like this literally is the age of where the smile fruits are going to rule the world pretty much, or at least attempt to rule the world anyway. With that being the case, however, and everything we learn about the smiles in this episode, I'm convinced more than ever that Chopper and Law are going to be the most quintessential figures in terms of finding a means to cure the people of Wano. And as I said, anything that gives Chopper spotlight, I'm all for. But the more I thought about it, the more I think that it would make sense for both Chopper and Law to be the ones to do this, because we have to remember that basically that Law had spent a lot of time on Punk Hazard, so he probably knows more about the smiles and how to reverse the effects of SAD than what he's letting on or what he's revealed to us. Like, I get the feeling that Law knows a lot more about how the smiles work and how to reverse the process than what we might think, or at the very least he's got a base idea of how to do it. Now, if I did have one complaint about this episode, is just how much it focused on the reactions of characters from learning the truth about the smiles. And I get what Toei was trying to do with this episode, that they tried to largely use the reveal in itself to build upon an unsettling and unsettling atmosphere. Like, they really wanted us to basically dread the circumstances of this situation. And to a certain degree, I will admit, I did feel that, but mostly in the first half of the episode. Like the first half of the episode, I definitely had a bit of feeling of dread that Toei was trying to instill in us as the viewer. But after that, though, the episode did start to feel like they were dragging it out and focusing so much on character reactions for the sake of filling the runtime. With the only other times it really worked after that was when the episode focused on Toko. Like, I'm not gonna lie, every time the episode had cut back to a scene of Toko, that's where the episode still managed to punch me in the feels quite a bit. And for anyone who's basically seen one of my particular videos about a certain event in my life, you'll pretty much know as to why the death of as to why Toko's reaction to her father's death was so feels inducing for me. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and let's Crunchyroll. That anime signing off. Later, guys.